is Alexia, and today you'll be learning about one of the most special of the California missions, Mission Carmel. But first, what is a mission? They are simple, massive structures built about a day's walk from one another. They were meant to spread the word of God to the Indians, as well as to expand Spanish rule and create new citizens. Each mission was like a small, self-sufficient city in itself. There are 21 missions in California. But who created the missions? Father Junipero Serra Ferrer created the first 9 out of the 21 missions. Father Serra was a Spanish Franciscan friar. He began with his first mission in San Diego in 1769, but established his own headquarters near Monterey, California. In his second mission at Mission San Carlos Borromeo de Carmelo, which is the mission we're going to be talking about today. Here's an interesting fact. Did you know that Father Serra was only 5 feet 2? That's the exact size of this measuring tape. I'm almost there. It's interesting to note that the original mission was actually not in Carmel. Instead, it was 5 miles away in Monterey. But the soldiers in Monterey did not treat the Indians well, and the conditions for growing crops were poor. In 1771, after only 1 year in Monterey, Father Serra moved the mission to Carmel, where far more Indians lived, and the soil was more fertile. When the mission moved, the original building continued to operate as the Royal Presidio Chapel and later became the current Cathedral of San Carlos Borromeo. This is present-day Mission Carmel. It's beautiful. I'm going to show you more of what's here today. But first, let's go back through time to understand how we got here. This mission was to be Father Serra's headquarters, so he took charge of the building himself. The first buildings, except the church, were made of logs stuck in the ground and standing vertically, with more logs across the top, covered with sticks and grass to make a roof. It didn't look quite like it does today. In fact, the first church was a brush hut. Eventually, the buildings would be replaced by larger adobe brick or stone buildings. So, what is Mission Carmel made out of? Mission Carmel is mostly made out of adobe bricks. Adobe bricks are made out of a mixture of mud, clay, and straw. People used them a lot back then. Most of the 21 missions are made out of adobe bricks. After Father Serra died in 1784, Father Lasuen decided to build a new stone church in 1793, which is this one. Because Father Serra and Crespi were buried in the old church, they didn't want to move them, so they built the new church in the same spot. A master bricklayer from Mexico named Manuel Ruiz supervised construction. The church was finished in 1797, and it is unusual among missions because of its design. The walls curve inward, and the ceiling follows the curve of the walls to form an arch, called a catenary arch. The bell tower has a Moorish influence. Carmel Mission is also one of the only 3 California missions which were eventually built of stone. The sandstone here was taken from the nearby Santa Lucia Mountains. Can you imagine how hard it must have been to carry these stones with the tools they had available back then? Come, follow me. Let me show you some of the facilities. This is the stone church we've been talking about. Let's take a look. Here's one of the museums. This is California's first library. It was made right here at Mission Carmel. It is air sealed so the books won't get moldy. Look at how old the books are. This is the kitchen. It was used for making meals for the Padres and their guests. The fathers lived in simple rooms that looked just like this. Father Sarah himself lived in a tiny cell that included a bed with a mattress made of straw, a single blanket, a table, and a candlestick. I would have probably had a hard time here, wouldn't you? This is where Father Sarah is buried, right under the altar. And outside is where many of the other settlers and thousands of Indians are buried. Did you know that there are shells decorating the graves of the Indians? They used those because there was nothing else that fancy to put around the graves. They could have put stones, but instead they put these beautiful shells. Now let's shift gears for a moment and talk about the Indians. My kind. There were more of us, Indians, in Monterey County than anywhere else in the United States. Before the missionaries arrived, we had a simple life, but we were still happy. It was all very scary at first. These huge boats with dozens of men who rode on the backs of animals we had never seen before. When Father Sarah and his followers arrived, he held a mass and rang bells to celebrate the new mission. We had never seen anything like that, so we watched, quite frightened, from the woods. But over time, we were assimilated into the mission. Now, let's try to imagine how life was at the mission. The mission bells would ring at 6 a.m. for prayer and breakfast, just like this one. After breakfast, it was time to go to work. Most of the men went to the fields to tend to the crops or to help with the animals, while women stayed at the mission and worked on domestic chores. Living at the mission was often difficult for the Indians. They were used to working when work needed to be done and resting when they were tired. The mission lifestyle was different. Many Indians missed the freedom of their tribal life and would try to leave the mission. The fathers wouldn't allow them to leave and would send soldiers to search for them and bring them back. Runaways were usually punished for breaking the rules. My name is Alexia, aka Wanapele. Thank you for watching my Mission Carmel project. I hope you enjoyed.
Lights, camera, action.
Welcome. Today you're going to learn about...
Okay.
Good. Wait, cut. And today I'll be telling you some facts about one of the most special missions of the California...
Okay.
Wait.
Whenever you're ready, action.
Yeah.
Wait.
Whenever you're ready.
You have to say let's camera action. I'll tell you when I'm ready. Did you know that there are shells cut?
Yep.
Father Lawson said it wrong. Father Leswen decided to build a new stone church.
Oh.
The mission bells would wake up. Oh, cut.
Oh.
When the mission.
Act.
Too many people,
Okay.
Daddy.
Okay.
Like, just go somewhere else and wait, okay?
Action.
No.